Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
This what I tell 'em. Look, I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles. Today, we're here with my guy, Mr. Tim Lewis, a great guy. He's a business strategy leader, doing some amazing things. I'm so thankful to have him on this episode. So first off, thanks so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles.
Thank you for having me, to be able to interview. And I appreciate it. I know we've had some scheduling conflicts over the last month or so, man. I'm so glad we got the time to actually do it now.
No worries. Yeah, we do have time. Well, let's dive into it. If you don't mind sharing your story with the audience and tracking your story till now.
Yeah, so it's had some twists and turns for sure, and they've all been good or life lessons. But I'm from Prattville, Alabama originally, so I'm a down south boy, right, and country boy actually. And a lot of people don't know that. They don't think that when they look at all the degrees and different things, like, oh yeah, they don't know where I come from, right? So, I'm from Prattville, Alabama. Single mom raised me along with other family members. Dad left when I was born. And it's not, I don't think that's a detriment or anything like that. It's just more of a testament to my mom and what she's done and what she's sacrificed in her life to be able to provide for me, to give me opportunities that she didn't have.
I know that life.
Yeah, man, and it's really, you appreciate those things. I mean, definitely when you're older, when you're younger, you're such in the moment and you're probably just playing as a kid or whatever. So I do appreciate that. And there's a lot of other people in my life that have really helped along that journey too. But I give a lot of credit to her and looking back and watching how hard she had to work. But went to Prattville High School, graduated from there, ended up going to Shelton State Community College for 2 years. One of the best experiences of my life, probably the best college experience of my life was there just overall. Left there and went to play Division I basketball at Jacksonville State. Another great experience to be able to live out one of those dreams, was to be a Division I basketball player. So I was able to do that. And then when I graduated in 2006, I walked across the stage. I'll never forget it, Chip. I didn't know what I was going to do in life. It had nothing to do with intellect. It was just, wow, like basketball is gone, right? I mean, for me, it was try to go play overseas, or the next best thing I decided to do was go into coaching, because that was pretty much, that's the nexus that you've been living, is either you're a player, you're being coached. So went into coaching at University of Alabama as a graduate assistant basketball coach. And that's, under the time, it was Mark Godfrey was the head coach there then. Another great opportunity. Got a chance to be exposed to basketball at the highest level in the college space. Started working on my master's in sports management during that time. Finished that. And then in 2008, I made the transition to coaching junior college in the same city in Tuscaloosa with one of my father figures, Coach Barry Bohan. Him and his family have been unbelievable to me. So I coached with him for 7 years. I got my MBA during that time from the University of Alabama. And then the most interesting part of this journey, Chip, that everybody looks at my resume or when they talk to me, they see a lot of the athletic background. They see some of the degrees and things like that. But I can tell you the most important piece of this journey was in 2011 when I took a job at UAB Health System and in strategy and business development. It was an area that I had no idea about healthcare, none. I went into something completely green, and it challenged me in ways that I had never been challenged before. Just intellectually, making sure your preparation's on point. Right? It's easy, and basketball is easy, right? It's easy. People make it so hard. It's easy, but when you go into a healthcare meeting and you're dealing with CEOs and physicians and people that really know their stuff,
That's a
And
little
you
different.
bring, yeah, it's so different, but it taught me a skill set that I use to this day, right? And it showed me that a lot of those soft skills that we always talk about, how no matter how hard an environment can be, if you got those soft skills, you could navigate your way. And I was able to do that for 4.5 years. One of the more important jobs I ever had because of it made me really think about things such as emotional intelligence, the politics of knowing a room, knowing people's motives, the power structure, right? So that right there was very impactful. And then I went to, and the people were unbelievable at UAB, the leaders that I worked with, and my colleagues, fantastic. Then I went to the NCAA in 2015, and kind of combined all those skills, right, from the coaching and the playing, and then the strategy and business development, right, because they started a new department that we worked in there, engagement and strategic partnerships, and that was basically to engage and strategically partner with all stakeholders that were around any of the potential kids that wanted to be student athletes, right? So that was an unbelievable opportunity there. Met a lot of really good people in the national office, and got a chance to be able to work with them side by side, and then bring some of the experiences I had, but also learn from them. And then I left there in the end of 2019 and started doing some diversity and inclusion consulting, and that's what the current career that I have. Obviously, coronavirus has stopped a lot of people's tracks when it comes to those kind of things.
Yeah.
But that right there is another interesting kind of twist too, because you're able to see so many things from different lenses, and you'll be able to try to understand how do we continue to be inclusive in life, right? And sometimes I think we've overprogrammed and we've made it too complicated. That's what I feel personally. But there are true challenges in that space. So yeah, it's just been a interesting journey, and I've met some amazing people along the way, friends and mentors, and people that I am so blessed to be able to pick up the phone and text and check on, or if I got an issue or if I got a question. I'm blessed in that aspect, right? I try to make sure I pay it forward to other people.
Yeah, just hearing you talk about your story, and I don't know, your transitions and things that you've done, and pushing yourself to get out of the box, in uncomfortable environments,
Yeah.
And just the relationships that you've gained. It's amazing how we go about just doing our thing, and we gain those amazing things that come in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's truly a blessing. Like you said, I try to pay it forward. It's truly a blessing when we have the awareness to see that, hey, I'm pretty fortunate. Like, this is really cool here, and then you go and give those, things to others. I think it brings like fulfillment to you in a major way.
It does. It does. And I can't explain how much fulfillment I get from doing things like this that can really help somebody, or when somebody calls and say, hey, Tim, what do you think about this? Or when you see a young person that gets their first internship when they graduate, or whatever it may be, those are things that are really so impactful, because you can really relate to being that person.
I was there.
Yeah, absolutely. You really relate. And so, yeah, for me, just paying these things forward, there's no way in the world I'd be where I'm at without the people that were to my left or right. No way. As much as some of the individual accomplishments that I've had, even during those, it's just so many people that I got to pay homage to, right?
Yeah.
And I'm appreciative of that. I think about that a lot.
Love it. Well, just hearing that, what are 3 things you've accomplished in your life that you're proud of?
I'd say the first is definitely being the first to graduate college, right? And when you don't see that growing up, when your mom has been working, she goes straight into work from high school, right? That was something that was in the household. You would just see, they would go, when you turn 18 in the Deep South, some people are like, you got to get out of here, right? You got to go work, become a woman or a man, right? So my mom was one of those people. And I didn't see college, educated people, right? Doesn't mean they weren't smart. They just didn't go to college.
Right.
And intermediate family, extended family, I just didn't see it. And so to be able to go to college, that right there is one of the most impactful things that have helped my life, because that started the journey, right? The true journey. of me being quote unquote a man. I know we use that a lot, right? So yeah, we use that a lot. So yeah, and I learned a lot of good lessons and hard lessons too during that transition. But that you already know, right?
I feel, as you say, I feel I not only do I understand, but I feel it. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
that life, man, just going from that. Yep.
yeah. So that was definitely one, and then let alone having a master's, an MBA, and a doctorate too, as well with all that. So those are just added
Yeah.
things into that piece. And I would say too, one of the other important things I really don't talk about a lot because it's really awkward for me to talk about individual accomplishments a lot. But I happen to be a part of our first championship team at Shelton State, community college, and that was something that's special to me because I had never won a championship. I was always close, and to do it with a lot of really, really great people, but great coaches and great folks around. I mean, those kind of environments we talk about from a culture perspective. That is one of the more proud moments I had that I know that I put a lot of blood, sweat, tears into that moment. And that was fantastic. And I still think about it to this day. And we all reminisce about some of those memories we had from those younger years. And that's one. I'll tell you the other thing, Chip, is the athletic transition is hard, right? When, it's hard. And I don't think people understand how hard it is, right? If you've never been in that boat. And so it's tough. And I have such an appreciation for it now. When I look back, because the sports part was easy. Basketball. And when we look back, yeah, we complained about workouts. We complained about, coach or this or that, or got to do homework. But we look back, that was easy. But when you transition out of that and you got to go work and you got responsibilities and you got to go pay bills and you got to figure out how am I going to navigate this workspace? And you got so much stuff. And then let alone to be having different kind of jobs and different things. For me, the ability to transition out of sport into things in life that I have liked, I think that is something that I'm proud of now. And I may have took for granted when I was playing. I thought everything was going to be this easy. And that was a tough transition. And so I get it. And when people sometimes rag on athletes and for decisions they make and different things, I'm like, it's a lot of pressures internally that sometimes people don't understand.
Right.
And so having a little bit more empathy to those situations, because it is a different world, a different mindset. And when you have to enter into somewhere where you have been or leave something that you've been the subject matter expert in, and now you're entering into a space that is so unknown, there can be some challenges there. And so I've learned a lot. And that was another reason why UAB was so impactful, because that was the first true full-time opportunity that I stepped out of my comfort zone, and it was a completely different world.
Yeah.
But I had amazing colleagues and amazing leadership that really helped me along the way. That really started my journey.
Yeah, just as you explain it, that's one thing that I'm truly passionate about too. Being in a high school setting, it's important to me to make the sports opportunities relevant to life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, I've been through that where like, oh, like you said, yes, it was, hard workouts, like you said, and all that stuff, but really is your passion. Like, I don't care what you do, like you ain't gonna make me not do this. You know what I'm saying? Bring it. Let's go. But then it's different in the world. And so if you don't have a core common set of principles that you believe in, if you don't really understand whose you are, rather than, who yes, know who you are, but understand the perspective of things. The sport doesn't make you. What makes you is who you are, whose you are, the big man looking out for you and giving you opportunities.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand or realize those things, you can really be out of whack. And, we've seen that, with people around us, because it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's one thing that I'm truly passionate about, because I talk pretty much lots of the people that I've interviewed that have sport backgrounds, and that are doing amazing things, I always ask them, and I was going to do this with you, if we could do a topic session again, and basically we talk about the transition.
Absolutely. Oh, I would love to do that. Yeah.
And, and I've done that and talked with several, top athletes that have, been NFL, but, had to make the transition, and how'd you make the transition? So I'm so passionate about that, because it hurts my heart when you see people get lost.
Yeah, it is tough, because it's the double-edged sword. Because if you go back in history, sports and entertainment was one of the first things for minorities to be able to be accepted and get granted access to, right? So
yeah, period, regardless of where you come from.
Yeah.
If you're an athlete, you're good.
Yeah. And so that has always been the entry point, which is good. But the downside of that too is, because that's the entry point, sometimes that's only the focus point. And that's what you're talking about. And then that leads to that transition being hard at the end. So it's that double-edged sword, right? How do you use that to, and you said it best, how do you use that to truly transition to life after sport? Because it's going to end for all of us at some point, the playing part with it, right? The playing part, everybody, right? At some point.
Well, let's hit on success. What's your definition of success?
And I keep the success, and I used to struggle with this one, the success part. When I was younger, I thought it was because I didn't come from much. So I got to go make some money, right? So I got to go make some money and dive in. And that was one of my focal points that when I was younger. And then it kind of shifted a little bit to more happiness, figured out how holistically can I be happy in my life. But I'll say it's really, to me, I think it depends on the person. So I do believe, for me, it's just accomplishing goals that are around my purpose, right? And one of the purposes I have in life is to make sure that I am helping lead younger generations of people to be whatever they want to be, but also challenging them to think outside the box, right? And, I think we do have a lot of things from a cliche perspective, I do think fits in life, but I think a lot of them too are some things that probably need to be tweaked, and we really need to dive into, when we talk about the life after sport. There are some things that don't transition from sport to the real world, right? We never talk about those, right? So, and that's probably another section that we can talk about later, one of the topics, but there's some things, Chip, that don't transition, right? And I found that out too, right?
Yeah.
So I do believe it's just figuring out what those goals are that you like, and they change. But hopefully you understand what your purpose is, and that can be something that you can use as your North Star when you're moving forward. That's how I just define success.
I love that. So before we get off, if you don't mind sharing with the audience where they can go follow you and check you out and show you some love.
Yeah. So look me up on LinkedIn, Tim Lewis. You'll find me on there. You'll see the bald black guy, right, in the picture. So bald head guy. And you can follow me on LinkedIn. That's one of the bigger things that I use, but also Twitter. You can look me up. It'll say Dr. Tim Lewis. I think it's TLew 2022. So you can find me on Twitter as well. And just follow me. Send me a message. I respond. I love connecting with folks through those mediums and hopefully have conversations. So, man, I appreciate the opportunity to be able to sit down.
Yes, sir.
This has been great.
Thank you. Well, again, I want to say thanks so much for taking the time to, share the nuggets of life and success that you have been blessed to achieve. And I wish you continued success.
Absolutely. Continued success to you too. And I appreciate you doing this, and you're highlighting a lot of people around the world and a lot of different functions that they do. So it's been really good to be able to see.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless.
All right.
Go get it.